The summer is almost over, but the war is not. Today, the war of aggression against Ukraine has reached the 175-day mark, and there's no end in sight. In the following interview, I talked to Kateryna Sokolova. She's an assistant professor at the Institute of Journalism of the Taras Shevchenko University in Kiev. Her weapon, I guess, is humor and a very sharp mind. She tells us how it feels when the alarm goes off, but you're sitting in a bus. She tells us about anger and how she traded this feeling with something else, and how she started to renovating her apartment again, and why. Hi, good to see you again. Kateryna, you are an assistant professor at the Institute of Journalism of the Taras Shevchenko University, and I'm wondering how the academic life goes on.
Well, first of all, it never stopped. So we had some practice, during the pandemic. So we learned how to use these online sources and like Google Classroom, Zoom, Meet. Some people use Teams. So all this studying, it was already online in most of the cases. Like lectures, they were online, and the seminars during the last period before the war, it was always also online because of the new cases of COVID. So we were prepared in this, yes, but emotionally, of course, the first months, I think it was very hard for people, like, this unexpected situation when you do not know what will happen next and what you should do. Should you go abroad or should you stay? How will it be? Will be the salary paid on time? Will you be able to survive in this country during such difficult times? Yeah, but most of the people, they managed to do that. Some of the people, they moved for some time abroad. They had this academic mobility, and now they are coming back. So basically the science and the project, they were always active during this period. Like, we never stopped working. And if you're talking about our institute, we started, well, the idea was born in December before the war, but we started actively filming during the war, the full-scale war, I mean. And it's called Super Dog. So it's about the most not famous, yes, but the most successful scientists of our university. So from different fields of science, not only journalism, like fields, psychology, biology, chemistry, like international achievements, and why people should go to do the PhD, why they should stay in our country. We are talking like this. These are the interviews, like 15 minutes interviews, where people tell what they can achieve in Ukraine and how they should develop the society here. So without leaving, and we are talking about brain drain. So this is basically the work that I'm doing now. Like, I'm focusing on making people stay, let's say it like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm very worried about the brain drain, and I'm worried about the pupils who are graduating from schools, who graduated from school this year, and now they are enrolling at the universities. And I am worried that they will go abroad.
Mhm.
So now our task is to do everything possible to make them stay, to
Mhm.
show them the opportunities, what they can do here. So,
How do you do that? So when you tell them, please don't go abroad, or we have wonderful studies here, what kind of hopes do you give these pupils, and maybe also these students of a first or second year, for example?
well, it's I wouldn't call it hope, because hope is something that you cannot actually, like, you cannot predict it. Yes, you cannot put it into the result in some kind of material thing, or some kind of achievement. So I would say that we are focusing on the real things that they can do here. Like you can come and use equipment, you can start filming, you can go to the practice, you can start even collaborating with some media, because now, okay, when the full-scale war started, there were a lot of um, different organizations involved. Like, it was called the Info Army, and they were very active during the first month. And people could collaborate, so they could give some information, they could go and film something, they could go and take pictures. So some people who were not journalists, and some people who were studying at school at the time, they could collaborate and they could provide information. So now, that's if we're talking about journalism, of course. And other fields of science, they also try to show all the sources that we have, that they show that here we have equipment, and if you go abroad, it can be even worse. Like, you will not have this base to have this practice. So it's better to stay here to conduct the research in this field. And so that's one thing. Another thing, that we show that you can stay here, but you can have some, for example, grants, or you can have some short-term programs where you can go abroad, you can have some courses, and then come back and apply this knowledge here to develop your country. Because if everyone leaves, then what will be left from Ukraine? So this is the most important thing, like, to show them that they need to stay and develop the country.
You mentioned earlier that some of your students left, and now they come back. So how come that people, families even decide to come back to Ukraine, although the war is still going?
The situations are different. Some people, they had to leave because they were scared. Like, for example, some people just gave birth to children. So imagine that you have this newborn baby, and you have air alarms all the time. So you need to be worried. Like, you need to decide whether to go to the shelter, whether to stay in the shelter all the time. Like, some people during the first month, some people stayed in the metro stations underground. So they didn't leave. Like, you should have seen this, like the tents and people with pets and babies. So some people, they decided to leave, and I totally support this decision, because I think that children, they shouldn't suffer. They shouldn't see this sometimes aggression. They shouldn't see the weapons. They should be focused on more, like, childhood things, like playing, and not having to care about survival all the time. So in this case, yes, but now they just can't stay abroad. Like, they want to come back, because here it's their home, and parents, they make decision to come back. So I have the students who left, and now they are gradually, coming back from Poland, from Germany. And also these payments for the refugees, they are not all the time, yes, paid. So it's like people imagine that if you have the status of refugee, you get all the benefits and preferences, but that's not true. There is this certain period when you get this money, and then it gets less, and then they do not pay it at all. So in some countries, they have already restricted these payments. And the thing is that you do not know, if you do not know the language, maybe you know this, like for example, for Germany, to have the serious job, for example, the scientists, you need to know German language, at least B2. So you need to pass the courses, but it takes time. So, but what should you do when you study? Like how you need to survive in these conditions. So it is difficult, of course. And here, some of them, they had the jobs, they had their own business, so they are able to survive still. So a lot of people are coming back, and that's good. Like, this is a positive thing.
Obviously, there was a change during the last month. You also just told me about the subway stations, that people stayed there for weeks. How would you say is life now? Did it become normal even to hear the air sirens going off, and then people go to the shelter, and apart from that, they just live their life? Or how can I imagine your life in Kiev?
Okay, the thing is that it will never be normal, and it never was, and it will never be till the war ends. But I think that people got used, and this is the scariest part of this. Like when sometimes you don't even react to these air alarms. This is a bad thing, of course, but you just okay. If it flies, it flies. Yes. If a rocket comes, you can stop it. Basically, this is a joke, of course. But a lot of people, they do not go to the shelters. But for example, in Kiev now, I think a week ago, they applied the decree which says that the transport stops during the air alarms. But the thing is, for marshrutkas, you remember I told you about marshrutkas, it's okay. Like marshrutkas, they continue functioning. So only trolley buses stop, buses, this transport which is controlled by the state. So marshutkas, they are the private companies mostly. So that's why they just continue going. But the thing is that even, okay, how it says, the instruction says that the transport should stop and the driver should propose to the passengers to go to the shelter. What if you are going somewhere where there is no shelter? Like what you need to do? You stop and you just go outside. So this is also a question. I am not, like I do not see the solution here in this situation, but I do not think that it's the best decision for some places, yeah,
Did this
on
happen
the road.
That you were in such a little yellow bus and then there was an alarm going off?
Yeah, it will just continue going. In Marshrutka, it's okay, like they are going still. But in some cities, the drivers, they propose like you can leave and go to the shelter, or you can continue your trip.
Let's say you're in a bus on a public transport or private transport, and then the alarm goes off, the sirens, and maybe you even decide that you stay in the bus, like you said. But what do you feel? What is your reaction? Do you have an instinct of leaving, or are you really just so used to it, so you just try to stay calm?
When I hear the air alarm, you mean? Okay, my first reaction, damn Russians. Like this is the first reaction. But honestly, it's been half of the year, yeah.
Yeah, 5
So
months.
it's been a long time already. And before that, there was also war in the East. So I think I got used to it. So I do not have panic. I do not have this. You remember I told you that I'm angry now. It comes and goes.
Mhm.
It comes from the, wow, everything's gonna be okay, and oh no, it will not be okay. And every day is like this,
Like a roller coaster, yeah.
coming from the positive to the negative.
Mhm. How would you describe the climate in Kiev at the moment when you just described your emotional roller coaster, but also that you're not constantly angry maybe anymore like you used to be. So when you look at other faces in the streets, what do you see?
You know, people are dealing with it. I would say like that. So they just see that they need to continue like fighting, to continue doing their job. The business is open again. People, as I told you before, people who even went away, who left the country, now they are coming back and they are opening the business again. Like they closed it for some period while they were abroad. Now they come back and they continue working to pay taxes, to support somehow. People donate to the army a lot, organize some deliveries of equipment and of the uniform, sometimes even of weapons, of course, from the United States. There are a lot of NGOs that work now with the deliveries on Facebook. So I would say that it is quite positive, like a lot of people are smiling. Some people, okay, there is a problem, of course, with drinking. Sometimes that you go and you see that first the alcohol was banned, maybe I told you, but then they allowed to sell it. So now there is some, I don't remember, some military demand from the army. He was joking that those people who are doing the barbecues and drinking beer outside of their houses, like it's not okay. In this case, like you need to remember that the war still continues. So yeah, sometimes it happens, but most people, they just continue working.
Yeah.
Working and surviving.
What would you say is your kind of escape to maybe forget about everything for a minute? Or would you say it's impossible for you to forget the full-scale war for 1 minute?
Forgetting, definitely no, because something always reminds you about that. And but focusing on something else helps. Like, okay, so before the full-scale war, I started this renovation in the hall. And when I started, I just stopped doing anything.
You mean in your
Like,
flat? Oh.
yeah, in the flats, of course. And like it's a mess. And but then, and as I told you, like it comes from the positive to the negative. So it was the negative, like I thought, I see, if the rocket comes, so I just do not need to fix it, anymore. So it will stay like that till the war ends. And then I had some change in my mood. Like I realized and I started processing things, and especially the aggression that I had. So I started renovating again, and I started fixing the closet. And now I cannot finish again because again it went down. So it stays, but it comes and goes. So I think it will be better this time. So, but the positive thing is that I started communicating with my father again. So
Maybe you can tell
when
the backstory about your father again. Like he
yes,
is in Russia at the moment. Right?
he no, he's on all the occupied territory.
Oh, okay. So he's in Donbass.
Yes, in Donbass, of course. And I understood that, I shouldn't overreact, because the thing is that, okay, so this is a totalitarian cult.
Mhm.
And what the representatives of the cult do is just they block, the first thing, they block the communication with the family.
Mhm.
So I analyzed, I read some sources, I even bought a book about this reprogramming of people. So I understood that I need to communicate, I need to give the alternative. So I started, trying to find the approach, and I finally managed to start the communication again.
Yeah, just to maybe to that everyone can understand the story, maybe people who haven't seen our first interview. So your father sent you a very hurtful message when the war started, right? This is
Yeah,
how.
let's say that all the families in Ukraine, they had this problem, and most of them stopped communicating with relatives from Russia, from the occupied territories, like from occupied Donbass. But what we haven't realized, and what I haven't realized at that time, because I was very angry and overreacting to this, yeah, because it's, of course, it's hurtful. That we're not angry because of the relatives. We are angry because of the propaganda, of the impact which Russia made on our region.
Because he
So
was like, in this message, but he was seeing you as the enemy, right? He was thinking you
yeah,
on the Ukraine
sure,
side, and yeah, this is why
sure.
then you stopped being in touch with him, and now you decided
Yes,
to get in touch with him again.
yes, of course, because I mean, that's the family. You need some, okay, when the war ends, what would you do? So you need to find the ways to show them somehow that, well, first of all, that you are not the enemy and you do not wish them death, because this was the most important thing. And now, as they see it, maybe some of them see it, some of them will see it. It will get better sooner or later, because now they, this when your thoughts, they do not match the reality. So it's very hard to change your beliefs sometimes. So sometimes things happen and they see that it is bad, but because they believed that it was good and they believed that everything will change, like Russia will help us, and now they see, no, nothing changes for better. Like they do not get money, they do not um, have any like additional impact on the territory. They do not develop the territory, they do not develop the industry, they do not develop the mines. The mines are closing, the mines are okay, not covered, but they are how to say, they gradually sank in the water. So the underground waters, they are coming up, and the mines, they just stop functioning. So the money, they do not go in the industry, and they see it because people lose their working places. The men, they should hide because they will be taken to the military by force, because they do not want to go, but they still are caught on the streets, and they see that it is bad, but they cannot accept this fact that it is bad. Because why? They believe that it is positive, and now they see that no, Ukraine is not the enemy. Here's the enemy, but we need to accept this. And to accept it, they need to stop propaganda. And to stop propaganda, you need to have the Ukrainian channels there. You need to have the Ukrainian media, NGOs working with the victims. Yeah, so it's, everything is connected, and
So
hopefully we
how
will have
was
some positive decisions.
how did you approach him again? What did you write to him? Did you call him?
Yeah, I wrote a letter. I talked, and I explained that I do not wish you bad. Like, you are not my enemy, and it's the thing is that the thing that I hate Russia and I hate Putin, it doesn't mean that I hate you, because you are my family. So I wrote this huge letter explaining that you just, you need to remember that I'm your daughter, and I think that you are the part of my family, and I only wish you well. And after that, he called.
Okay, what did he say?
He just said that, yes, you're right. And he just told me about his day, so it was a normal conversation. And that's when I understood that's okay. You just need to continue communicating, because there is no other option. Like, you whether if you want to stop and if you want to cut it, of course, yes. But you want to cut it forever. But when we win this war, and we will win, you will still need to somehow communicate, or just continue living like that, in aggression and your hatred, and these negative feelings, all negative feelings that you have. But you can find the way to deprogram it somehow, yeah, to find the way to communicate again. So I choose the second.
Yeah, I can see that, and I'm very much impressed, because I saw Kateryna, who was very angry, and now you, as, I don't know, someone who is willing again to listen even to those people you are angry at, although you just said it, you're angry at Putin. Does this work every day, or are you sometimes thinking, I wish the Russian civil society would do more?
No, but the thing is that my family, it's not Russian society. My family, they are Ukrainians. So I do not consider Donbass, and I never consider Donbass as a part of Russia, as well as Crimea. So for me, Crimea and Donbass, they are Ukrainian society. So that's why I perceive them as Ukrainian society. And that's why I do not have hatred towards them. Because they are Ukrainians. They just, okay, they may not realize this. They may not realize that they are part of Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian society, because they were brainwashed, but they are still Ukrainians. So I'm not angry with them. I'm angry with the propagandists. I'm angry with Russia and Russians who are supporting this. And there are more than 70%. You know that the recent statistics show that it's more than 70%. So I'm angry, of course, yes, but I learned how to control this. So it's like basically, it's like seeing the person who went to the psychologist, but I didn't. I just, I processed this in my head, and I processed the feelings, and I understood how to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that. Are you sometimes a psychological support for the people around you, for your students, maybe for your mother who lives in Kiev because she left Donbass because of the war back then, and now is confronted with the war again? So are you a psychological help for others, not only for yourself? Because I feel like you can really, not like, if you say that you analyze everything yourself and you changed your attitude, how do you do it for others?
I think that not consciously, maybe, because maybe when I post something with videos or running, these pictures that you need to continue your life, and you just need to find the positive sides. So maybe unconsciously, yes. I would say that I help some people. And sometimes I need help. Like I continue searching for some information sources or some ideas, some things to create, maybe. Yeah, just why I started this renovation, because I needed to change something, because I cannot leave. Yeah, I cannot go somewhere. Sometimes you have some financial troubles, so you think like, what should I do? And that's the thing, you just need to find a way to distract yourself.
Mhm.
And I think I find my ways.
Speaking of time, maybe as a last question, when you said, oh, it's like now half a year, I heard a question mark. And so I'm wondering, how do you perceive time? The last 5 months, how do they feel? How long do they feel? Fast?
They feel fast, yes, like the time flies. But you know, I think for every Ukrainian, every day since the full-scale invasion started is just another day when Putin didn't die. So it's a joke, of course, but you wake up with a thought like,
You're famous for
oh,
your humor. I think people know that by now.
yes, like you wake up and you think like, does Russia still exist? Oh yeah, okay, just another day, you know, like the war didn't stop, so you just need to go to work and you need to continue fighting for saving at least the society. Yes, you need to do everything you can do at that time. So yeah, it flies, but you do not notice it sometimes. And I think maybe a week ago, my mom told me, no, the summer ends and we haven't seen summer. So that's exact words that she said. And yes, it's true, because we are working and trying to focus on other things except for the war.
Thank you so much for this interview, Kateryna.
Thank you.